What's up, everybody? This is Phil with Phil Up on Sports. Today we're going to talk Super Bowl, obviously. Last night the Broncos beat the Carolina Panthers 24-10. My prediction going into the game was Carolina 31-20. My thoughts going into the game were that I knew Denver's defense was really good, and I knew that Carolina's offense was really good. I thought going into it that Carolina's defense would end up being the difference because Denver would not be able to move the ball and give Carolina short fields, turnovers, things like that. The crazy thing is that those things did happen. Denver only had 11 first downs in the game. Peyton Manning only had 13 completions, 141 yards. He threw an interception. He didn't have a touchdown. They didn't run for 100 yards. They only had one guy with yards. Anderson had 90, and Hillman didn't have any. They had three plays over 20 yards. They really didn't do anything on offense. If you go back to the game, the first drive, they drove the field. They had two of their plus 20-yard completions, and they got the ball down and kicked the field goal. And honestly, when they kicked the field goal, I thought, okay, that was Denver's chance to really put some heat on Carolina if they could score a touchdown and make themselves believe that they could score. But they just didn't have to. The Denver defense was so good that it completely didn't matter that the Denver Broncos offense was so bad. Carolina got the ball in good spots all game long. The one time they got the ball at the 50-yard line, they ran the ball on first down. I think they got a yard or maybe nothing. The second play, they tried the backwards pass to Ginn, and he was going to try to throw it back to Cam Newton, and he ended up going out of bounds. That killed that drive. It seemed like every time they got good field position, Denver just stepped up and took it away from them. You go back, they were up 3-0. They pinned Carolina deep, and then Von Miller started his game where he was just unstoppable, couldn't be blocked. He would set guys up and then use a spin move, and when he uses that spin move, it seems to always work. He hits Cam Newton, and as Cam Newton's trying to turn around with the ball, he actually just reaches in and grabs it and knocks it out, and they get the touchdown. And once they were up 10-0, even though I was still thinking Carolina's going to score in this game, so 10's not that much, there was definitely a sense of Denver's going to believe, and Carolina's got to have a little bit of doubt in their mind because in every other playoff game, they were up so big early that they were able to relax. So they hadn't really dealt with playoff pressure, and I think that was huge. And I can't believe how good Denver's defense was. Everyone knew they were good, but I don't think anybody knew they could go on a run with Pittsburgh and New England and then Carolina where they just dominated defensively. Carolina was rolling. I mean, they had scored so many points and they could do nothing. There was nothing going for them yesterday. Even when they hit the long passes, it never really resulted in long sustained drives. They couldn't hold drives together. Newton had 265 yards passing and an interception, but he threw the ball 41 times and only had 18 completions. So that tells you pretty much all you need to know about how he was playing throwing the ball. He ran the ball decent, and they mentioned in the telecast after halftime that he didn't receive any extra attention, maybe oxygen or an IV or anything like that. But there was no doubt at the end of the first half when he was walking off the field that he was dead tired, and probably as much mentally as it was physically because he just couldn't figure out the defense. And the Carolina offensive line, they're not a bad offensive line. They're obviously not the greatest offensive line in the NFL, but they're not bad, and they had no answer for anything that Denver threw at them. So the second half, there was just times when you thought Denver just kept giving them the ball back. They'd go 3-and-out. You just felt like Carolina was going to find a way to do it. And they got down, kicked the field goal there, middle. I don't know if that was the middle of the fourth quarter, somewhere in the fourth quarter. And that's when you really felt like, okay, all they need now is a touchdown, and they'll take the lead. They'll make it 17-16, and they'll win the game. And Carolina got the ball, and you pretty much knew it was their last chance to win the game. And again, they hit Cam Newton. They knocked the ball loose. The story here is that he runs up to the ball and then doesn't dive on it. And Denver gets the ball back, and then they score after the penalty in the end zone. So I think the biggest thing for me going out of the game was that as much as Denver's defense dominated the game, and they are the absolute story of the game, I think Carolina was just. I think they were a little bit overwhelmed. I didn't pay a ton of attention to what teams were doing this week, and if there was any talk out there what players were doing, blah blah blah. I can't watch hours upon hours of pregame every day for a game, so I didn't watch a ton of that. I'd be curious to know the difference between what Denver was doing pregame or pre-week, I guess, and what Carolina was doing. Carolina just didn't seem all that well prepared, and they didn't seem to have the same energy they always do. I don't know if they blew it in pregame, just they were just too hyped up and they couldn't bring it all back in. But Denver was the better team. Denver definitely deserved to win, and I feel like I'm not giving Denver enough credit because I'm so surprised at how poorly that Carolina played. But that Denver defense they were incredible. So post game, the talk definitely started out with Peyton Manning and was he going to retire, and he said he wasn't going to retire because he didn't say he wasn't going to retire. He didn't say he was going to make a decision because he didn't want to do something emotionally, which probably does make the most sense. But I did see where his dad said it's pretty much a given that his time in Denver's over. So he's either going to retire or go to another team. And I know people last week were bringing up Los Angeles Rams, and I just don't know if that makes sense. I don't feel like Peyton's in a spot where going somewhere where the team is probably not on the brink of something doesn't seem to make a ton of sense to me. And I definitely don't think Los Angeles is on the brink. I mean, running game is obviously solid, and their defense should have been better than it was, but they have a great defensive line. But, I mean, Jeff Fisher hasn't won a lot of games. I think I saw where he's 22 seasons, he's got 7 winning seasons. So, as much as he gets a lot of praise, he doesn't have a lot of winning seasons on his belt. So I don't think they're an option, and I just don't know who else is out there that says automatic winner or chance to go to the Super Bowl. And if you're Peyton, I don't know if there's a way you could go out better than this. I mean, no one was picking Denver, and even though they won, I think he has to see that, I can't do it on my own anymore. I would need to be on a team like Denver with a defense that isn't going to give up a ton of points. And like I said, I just don't think it's out there, and I think the best decision for him is probably just to go ahead and retire. After everything with the Broncos was going on, of course, everybody wanted to hear what Rivera was going to say, and players from Carolina and Kuechly. His comments were awesome. He was really what you expect when a player loses to talk. He was very honest about how they played and congratulatory towards Denver. Whereas Cam comes out and he's asked normal basic questions. He answered a few really short. Then he answered one he gave kind of a long answer to one. And then he's asked the last question, and there's something said in the background. And I've never been able to figure out, or I haven't seen anybody say if this guy was a reporter or if it was a player or if it was just some random person. But it sounds like they're trying to ask him if he just couldn't throw, or I couldn't tell if they were actually asking a question or if they were kind of yelling towards him. But he didn't like it. He got up, walked off the stage. It's been obviously the big talking point. And last night, on my Twitter, I said that he absolutely shouldn't have done it. You got to stand there and ask and answer the questions. And the biggest reason why is because everybody else does it, and because I love the things he does when they're winning, and he's dancing and he's giving balls to kids and he's having fun. I love all that. But if you're going to be that guy when you win, you have to be that guy when you lose. You can be sad, you can be somber, but you still have to do your job. And I just don't like the fact that he acted like that. It really made him look like a sore loser, made him look like a baby. I mean, it wasn't the things that I think Cam Newton is. It sort of seemed like Cam in college, just, a little bit immature, and I thought he was better than that, and he probably is. He made an honest mistake, but he's going to have to live with it because he's going to get torn up pretty good for it, probably for the next week at least. So he's going to have to answer those questions. Hopefully he comes out, does an interview or something, and kind of makes up for it. But either way, he's still going to face those questions. There's going to be people that stick up for him too, so that's going to be out there. But as far as the Super Bowl goes, that's pretty much it. Denver's the champions again, and next year I think it's wide open. There's going to be a lot of good teams, and now we get to look forward to the combine and then the draft, and we'll go from there. So as far as the video blog here, in the next couple days, somewhere in there, I had a request from my friend Jordan that, as a Browns fan, we go over the position groups of need and all of that leading up to the draft. So I was going to do a video in the next coming days, and we were going to start with quarterback since that's obviously the position of need. But I think what I'm going to do is, in the next coming days, I'll do a video about the positions that the Browns need, and I'll try to order them, in my opinion, where they need to target, what positions they need to target the most. And then after the combine, we'll talk about each position and players in that position, and I'll try to do players at the top, and then some players that are middle round guys that might be available, that might be steals, that kind of thing. So we'll do that. I'm hoping to get with Tom Wilson from the Lancaster Eagle Gazette and do some boys basketball, and if wrestling's still going on, just Lancaster area sports, like a tournament preview type stuff. So if we're going to do that, it'll have to get done here pretty quick because the boys' draw was yesterday and the girls' draw was the week before. The state duels for wrestling, I think, are this week. And I believe Amanda Clear Creek is in the state duels, so that could be something we could talk about. And then the wrestling individual tournament will be a few weeks later, and I'm sure there will be some area kids doing that. So we'll talk about that stuff. I'll also do something here probably within a week on the Cavs and kind of analyze how things have gone since Lou's taken over. I have lots of thoughts on that. So we'll talk about that. So those are the things that are coming up soon. So check back, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one.